Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome to Kelsey Creek Farm Park. My name is Anna Marie Salmonson. I'm the supervisor, and we would like to welcome you today to the live sheep shearing event. I would like to ask a couple of people to come out so I can introduce them this morning. The first person I'm going to call out will be Carla Tresek. Carla is the farm animal coordinator. She actually went to sheep shearing school a few years ago, and she is going to share some of her passion and knowledge about the shearing today. Thank you, Carla.
Thank you.
The next person I'm going to have come out is Julie Resnick. Julie had started owning sheep when she was 5 years old, which is amazing. And she also has 31 sheep right now that she cares and takes care of. She also is a City of Bellevue employee, and she works in the resource management group. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
The next person I'm going to have come out is Amy Wolfe. Amy Wolfe is going to be doing the shearing today. Many of you might recognize her because she's been at several of our events in the past. What's interesting about Amy is she started her farming with her family back in 1978 with Romney sheep. In 1987, they added Angora goats. Right now on her property, it's a little more than Julie, she has 45 sheep, Romneys, and she also has Angora goats, and so there's 30 nannies on there. So that's quite a herd she has. What she's done is she's also started shearing when she was only 14 years old. That's amazing too. And she also earned money while she was shearing so she could go to WSU, so she could go to college. If anybody at WSU fans out there, yay! Yeah. And she also teaches fifth graders and also all ages for fiber arts. And she also was a judge in Western Washington, United States. And she does wool, and you do fiber goats and sheep. It's amazing. What I'd like Amy to do is for a couple of minutes is just to share the reasons why do we shear.
Well, the reason we shear is because sheep are domesticated. These sheep have been domesticated for thousands of years. And so in order to help them with their comfort and for their health, we need to remove their fleeces or their wool every single year. And sometimes it's every 6 months, sometimes it's every 8 months, sometimes it's every year. But we need to do it on a regular basis for their health and their comfort.
Yes, it is important for everyone to realize this, and it's why we do this at Kelsey Creek Farm and why Amy gets around to several local farms in the area. And I think you've actually are past 500 sheep now since January?
That's correct.
Yeah, we need to all do a little sheep workout. All right, with that being said, we're going to actually start our event up, and we're going to have Amy actually doing the shearing. And I have a couple other helpers that are going to be coming out, and we're going to set some hay down because we have two extra special guests. There are going to be some babies that are coming from Amy's farm. So we have Amanda, and they're all a little shy right now. So we're going to get them out, and they're going to come on out to see what it's all about. So we don't know how the babies are going to do. They might scamper, they might come see Julie and Carla, and they might be a little shy, but that's okay. That's why we have a little lunch or breakfast for them, or early breakfast, late lunch. Here we go.
Come on, Snowflake. If you could shake the reins, that would be great. Okay, our first subject is Snowflake. Snowflake is an 11-year-old ewe. And so sheep normally live about 7 years out on the range. So she's an older ewe, and these are her two lambs. This is Rhyme, and the spotted one back there is Frazel. In the shearing process, the first thing we need to do is make sure that the sheep is comfortable and also very secure when we do the shearing. So I actually have to get her sitting down. Okay. I'll rotate the sheep on their hip until I feel like they're comfortable. This process is done through my legs. I can feel her. And so when I know that she's relaxed by when she drops her front legs like this. Otherwise, their front legs will stick straight out if they're not comfortable. So we drop her, and she's comfortable. So we're ready to start shearing. Thank you. Good girl, Snowflake. Good girl. And then she's going to take a bath. She did a great job. And one of the things about shearing is we make sure that the sheep is very comfortable and very relaxed during the whole process. And then afterwards, we give them a treat, usually some hay. And we just make sure that they're doing great. We didn't give her anything like before shearing to make her more calm. It's just the way they are and how I hold them with my legs. Okay, Snowflake, you did great.
There you go.
She's worried about her lambs. She's talking to them. Okay?
All right, Snowflake. Thank you,
There you
Amy.
go.
All right, here we go.
Come on, girls. All right. The next process is skirting the wool.
So what Amy's doing when she's skirting the wool is she takes the fleece and she takes off the parts that are not necessarily going to be used by hand spinners or the commercial processors that'll take the fleeces. So she takes off the things around the belly, the things around the parts of the wool that are on the legs and around the head and the neck, and then she leaves the body, which is going to have a longer fiber on it. And then that's what hand spinners can use, or that's what commercial processors can use as well.
This is an example of a fleece from one of Julie's sheep, and you can see that it's kind of got a yellow tint to it. That's because there's lanolin in sheep wool, and what it is, it's a kind of greasy substance. It helps keep the sheep waterproof, so they can be outside in the rain and the snow and they are not bothered at all. However, we want to clean that out before we use it for people. So you either want to wear a sweater or something that has lanolin in it. That gets cleaned out, and then this fleece will be perfectly white.
Yep, and to process the wool, I use Dawn dishwashing liquid. It's a multi-step process using cold water, progressing to hot water, and soap. And then after I'm processing it, it starts yellow.
So it looks like this to start.
And then by the time I'm ready to spin it, it's this color white. So this fleece that's yellow turns this color white. And then I take the wool and I spin it. I have a spinning wheel that I use, and this is dyed. And then you spin the singles and then you ply them, and then you can use it for knitting and weaving and crochet and other fiber projects. This sweater right here, Amy knit, and this is actually Snowflake's, the sheep she just sheared. This is Snowflake's fleece from 2 years ago, and she knit this sweater for her daughter. And then her daughter took another fleece, which is one of Snowflake's lambs, and wove this scarf out of it using, she mathematically calculated how long she spun with the lighter color and how long she spun with the darker color to make it this argyle pattern. Other projects that you can do with the fleeces is things such as felting. So Amy makes sheep out of felting, and this is actually an Oxford. It's a Oxford, which is one of the breeds of sheep. It's a dual purpose, and they're primarily used as a meat breed. And then also with wet felting and needle felting, you can make beautiful designs. Amy is quite an artist.
She is. She really is. Yeah, so what she's doing is a type of shearing called New Zealand pattern shearing, and it's the most efficient way to shear sheep. They actually have sheep shearing contests, and the fastest a shearer can shear a sheep is actually in less than 40 seconds. Amy is intentionally slowing things down today so that we can get a good look at what's going on. But a sheep can be shorn in less than 50 strokes. So it can be a very efficient process when you have to shear a big herd of several hundred or even several thousand sheep.
And you'll notice when she goes through and shears, she sometimes pauses, and while she's moving the sheep around, she'll wait for the sheep to relax. That's mostly what she's doing when she's pausing, to get them in the right position, to make sure that the skin is pulled tight, because it's easier to shear that way, and plus that way you don't nick them. Because the shears are very sharp.
it's important to try to get the entire length of the fleece off in one cut. New shearers tend to do something called second cuts, which is when, because we're afraid to cut the sheep, so you might get up off the skin a little too much, and that's hard for hand spinners because then the fleece comes off in shorter bits. So it's quite a skill. I have been to sheep shearing school, and it is incredibly difficult. So Amy does an absolutely wonderful job with our sheep. It's incredible. She has brought her Romney sheep. They developed in England around 1800, which is about the same time that the sheep at Kelsey Creek were developed. They are called Cotswold sheep. So we have Cotswolds. They can be up to 300 pounds. They can be really big sheep. And they were brought to the United States in the 1800s, and they've spread all across the country. They're both very popular today.
How much is a fleece weight, do you think, when she gets it off of them?
They are about 10 to 13 pounds for her Romney sheep. Our Cotswolds, interestingly, produce a little bit more weight. They can be closer to 15 pounds, but less of it is that really good body wool that goes for production uses. So I think we've just about got our second set of lambs coming out.
Do you do any of the fiber arts? Do you knit or crochet at all?
I have learned how to do the basics. I knit and I also spin. But my products are not here on show today because I still have a ways to go.
Me too. Yeah, but I brought them anyway. Looks like we're ready for the next one to start.
All right. I think this is Fern.
This is Snowflake's daughter, the last sheep that was sheared. It's her daughter. And these boys are probably going to get into trouble. They are far more curious than the last two. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so just like in the last shearing, we need to get the sheep down on the ground. And sheep poop, they just do. It's a very natural thing, so she just, all right. How much does she weigh?
How much does she weigh, Amy?
About 175, 185 pounds, which is a normal weight for a Romney sheep. we shear it in a complete circle, but because our camera is fixed today, I have to stop and turn the sheep to do the last few cuts. Girl, Fernie. Hey, and Fern's gonna take a bath. She did a great job. You can see that she has some yellow striping down her sides. That is the lanolin that the sheep produces. When it rains here really hard, that lanolin will wash down. Lanolin is used in our skin creams and lots of beauty products to keep your hands nice and soft. And my hands are luxuriously soft. Good job, Fernie. All right, boys. Come on.
Here you go. Come on, Fern.
Come on, guys. Come on. Come on, let's go. Come on, boys.
Step over.
Rascals. Come on. Come on.
So you might wonder, what happens if you don't shear sheep? So as Amy talked about at the beginning, sheep in the wild lose their wool all by themselves. But through the process of domestication, we have gotten it so that sheep don't shed their wool all over the place, which means we have to shear them. And sometimes, every once in a while, there's a sheep that gets famous down in Australia or New Zealand because they will escape from their herds and you can't catch them and they can't shear them. One of the sheep was named Shrek, and he wasn't caught for 6 years, and he had about 60 pounds of wool on his body by the time they caught him. That's one of the reasons why it's really important that we shear, because that's unhealthy for sheep. This particular sheep named Shrek, though, was finally caught and shorn, and he got to go to Parliament in Australia on his 10th birthday. So it was a happy ending for Shrek.
He was pretty famous.
He was very famous.
So one thing producers do with their wool is they can sell it commercially. Mm-hmm. Who made your shirt?
This is a shirt from Pendleton, Oregon.
And so Pendleton has a woolen mills, and you may have heard of Pendleton blankets. They make clothing as well. Mm-hmm. And this week, I'm actually taking my fleeces down to sell to Pendleton. It's pretty exciting.
It is exciting. How many fleeces are you taking down?
There's about 22 of them.
Really?
I have a big wool bag in the back of my truck, and it pretty much takes the whole back of my truck. It's about 200 pounds of fleeces.
Amazing. I'm going to make sure to buy an upcoming Pendleton blanket.
Yes.
Yeah, So we're going to bring Bob out here in a moment. Bob is one of our sheep at Kelsey Creek Farm. He's about 7 years old, and we've had him since he was just a few months old. We actually got him from up in the San Juan Islands. Bob and Sean are two tour sheep here at the farm, so if you ever come by for a tour and you get to pet one of the sheep, it's Bob or Sean that you'll get to pet. They're both very good boys.
And when he comes out, you're going to see the before.
Yes.
And then after we're done, he's going to get sheared, and you can come by and see the after.
Exactly.
Here he is. I'm going to give him to you. We're going to do a little
Bob.
dance.
You're a good boy.
Okay. So we just want to thank everyone for coming out to the sheep shearing event. Bob, of course, is going to be sheared, and you have an amazing haircut. I also want to thank Amy for coming out today, and Julie and the Kelsey Creek Farm team for putting this event together. I also want to say a special thank you to the City of Bellevue and the Bellevue Parks Department for helping sponsor these kind of events within the city, because they are fun for everyone to enjoy. We are looking forward to next year and what's coming up. This summer we have some amazing programs happening in the Parks Department, so check those out. And for next year, which is going to be super special, in 2022, we're going to have our sheep shearing event. Our goal is to have you all back here, and I want you to make sure that you could come. We are celebrating 50 years of Kelsey Creek Farm. So we're saying we're going to shear Bob. We think we're not going to let you go away right away. I've been given the cue that it's okay to keep on going. So Bob doesn't know it's going to happen live, but I'm actually okay about that because I think he's going to be fun to watch too. And the fact that I don't have to do like yoga with him. So we're going to do a little rotation, and because now look at Amy, she's powered up. She's ready to go. Don't you just love her? She's amazing. She can go from not doing it to doing it. Love you so much. And there's a lot of hair. All right, here we go. And Julie's going to help out now. Okay.
So the trick with shearing the bigger sheep, get them down on the first go. So Sean sits a little bit differently than the Romneys do. So we got to get him comfortable. It may take a minute here. I rock him with my legs. When we shear, I have to have both hands free. So I have to hold on to him with just my legs. big physics problem. It's all about leverage. It's not about manhandling, it's about finesse. Well, some of it's manhandling. I do have to lift him up now. Sean's dreads on or off?
Oh, I think he would be cute with a little top knot.
Okay. take a bath. He did a great job. He needs snacks now. He told me. Bye, Sean.
You'll notice
That's
this is a real fleece to actually see what goes on with skirting. You lay it out just like it is on the animal, and then you can pick off the parts that are dirty and don't necessarily give you what you want for as a handstand.
The reason we call it skirting is because we go around the edge just like we would to skirt something. If you're going to skirt around something, it's the same verb. There, I got my teaching thing in for today. You can see that it's slightly darker than this up here, so we're going to take that off. Go around the edges.
Beautiful job, Amy.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Amy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy.
All right, we're
Thanks
gonna.
for having me. You're next.
All right. All right. So we're gonna go ahead. I want to end with the event of just thanking everyone for coming to the live sheep shearing event today. We have, like I said, many people to thank that came together on this event. And most important is that I really want to recognize the City of Bellevue and the Bellevue Parks and Community Services Department for sponsoring these unusual events at many different parks. We're going to be looking forward to next year, which is we're going to be celebrating 50 years at Kelsey Creek Farm Park as an active park and 100 years as a dairy farm that used to be called Twin Valley. So stay tuned for the next upcoming activities. Check out BTV because we're going to be showing these sheep shearing event in a couple of more days, okay? So goodbye from Kelsey Creek Farm. Thank you so much for coming.
Bye.